Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift Farm. I'm Dan Illman, along with Nicole Russo, and let's throw up the field for Friday's Spa Baby race, stakes action at the Spa. Race number 3, 5.5 furlongs on the turf. It's the $85,000 Skidmore Stakes for 2-year-old Spendthrift Stallions, represented by the number 1, Sunny Isle Beach by Jimmy Creed, and the 5, Fauci by Spendthrift Super Stallion Malibu Moon. Nicole, Wesley Ward dominates this group. The great trainer has 3 of the 6.
Yeah, he's got 3 of the 6, including Fauci and Golden Pal, both of whom have got a couple of starts under their belts. They've got a nice experience edge, and both were intended for recent stakes company at Monmouth when that race was taken off the turf. They wind up in this spot, and I think they're both going to be primed and ready to go.
Let's start things off with the longest shot of the Wesley Ward trio on David Aragona's morning line. The number 1 is Sunny Isle Beach by Spendthrift Stallion Jimmy Creed, a half-sister to Artemis Bridge, a stakes-placed synthetic sprinter, but there's plenty of turf in this pedigree, and I like how this filly came from off the pace, albeit against weaker maiden claiming competition, to win her career debut on dirt.
Yeah, she's certainly stepping up in class here, but as you mentioned, that debut came on dirt, and I think turf or synthetic will be her preferred surface down the line. Spendthrift's Jimmy Creed, a very good multi-purpose stallion and a speed influence, and you're crossing him over a Kitten's Joy mare.
Number 2 is Baytown Bear. Now, Baytown Bear's lone lifetime victory came on the dirt at Indiana Grand. He has done well on the turf. Let's talk a little bit about his first crop sire, Upstart, who has gotten off to a good start. How do you think Upstart's progeny will fare on the turf ultimately?
You know, I really do see him as more of a dirt stallion. He's a great physical. He's throwing some nice horses that I think will continue to develop beyond this year. But I really do think that he's primarily going to be a dirt type stallion, definitely more of a dirt oriented pedigree on the female side for Baytown Bear as well. You see Kentucky Oaks winner Believe You Can and others, but he did run well on turf last time out at Colonial Downs, has a lot of experience and foundation here.
Number 3 is Kentucky Knight. This is a son of Speightstown, most recently sold for $30,000 last month. Speightstown, a rock-solid sire. This horse has a nice turf pedigree, but it is a tough spot for a first-time starter against some nice winners.
Well, not only is it a tough spot for a first-time starter, but I'd really prefer to see a little bit more of a work tab on this horse if they are going to debut in such a tough spot. You see a nice 5-furlong work most recently at Saratoga, but I'd really prefer to see more official works and more 5-furlong, more longer works, perhaps some gate works in order to ready a debut starter for this spot.
Let's take a look at a formulator fact for this barn. Longtime assistant to Gary Contessa on the own now, past 90 days on the turf, 1 for 27. But again, let's take this formulator fact with a grain of salt. Kentucky Knight's going to be a big price on the tote board. The number 4 is Skies Not Falling. This is a son of a young stallion by Galileo. Let's talk a little bit about Seville.
Yeah, Seville, raced very well throughout Europe. The son of Galileo, I believe, was second in the Irish Derby and some other very nice events before finally scoring his Group 1 win in Australia, entered stud in Chile, and then stood in the U.S. in Maryland. Only has a couple of crops. He sadly died in a paddock accident at age 9. But, he sired some nice runners, some runners with some speed, which I didn't necessarily expect from him, the nice Maryland-bred Las Cetas and others. And there's some, sort of short dirt ability on the bottom side of this pedigree. Seville certainly adds the turf ability to the pedigree. I think it's kind of an interesting blend here.
Let's watch the turf debut of the number 5, Fauci by Malibu Moon. Of course, the Spendthrift Stallion. This horse showed good speed over yielding ground at Keeneland for Wesley Ward. 72 Beyer speed figure. And I just like the way this colt keeps digging in and finding a little bit more each time on the lead. Wesley Ward hasn't been able to mask his excitement about Fauci.
Yeah, and I think that that nice win last out is even more impressive when you think about it coming on yielding turf. That can take some of the starch out of these young horses, and Fauci just kept finding a little bit more, finding a little bit more. By Malibu Moon, certainly no surprise that they debuted him on the dirt, but really I think the turf is where he ultimately wants to be, considering his female family. His dams have to a couple of good turf horses, including X Celebration, who would have probably been a multiple Group 1 winner if not for being born in the same year as the great Frankel. Plenty of distance ability in this pedigree. I'd like to see Fauci going longer even ultimately, but I think this spot suits him fine.
And completing the field is the favorite on David Aragona's morning line. Wesley Ward trained Golden Pal, although still maiden. Golden Pal might be the most accomplished horse in this race. Group 2 placed at Royal Ascot last time out in the Norfolk Stakes, and he took that field all the way down to the line before just being pipped at the wire. This colt is out of Lady Shipman, who is just a win machine, a true turf sprinter. Golden Pal looks like he has a lot of ability and a lot of early gas.
Definitely, showed early speed in both of his starts, including, the Norfolk, which was just an outstanding run in his second lifetime start going over to Europe. Lady Shipman, you mentioned the dam, just an outstanding turf sprinter. The Uncle Mo's run on anything. And, that certainly adds some 2-year-old ability to the mix. And like Fauci, Golden Pal has been working steadily on the Saratoga turf, getting ready for, his third career start here.
Let's take a look at our top selections for Friday's Spa Baby race, the Skidmore Stakes. Of course, our coverage presented by Spendthrift Farm. We agree. We're both going to go with Golden Pal in here. It's interesting that Golden Pal and Fauci, both trained by Wesley Ward, both have good early speed. I think Golden Pal has a little bit of an advantage breaking outside, where Irad Ortiz can take a look and see what's going on if there is some speed to the inside and maybe sit if need be.
Well, I think so as well. The draw helped separate the two stablemates for me, as well as the fact that I think Fauci, again, might ultimately want a little bit more ground in the future, whereas Golden Pal just looks like a pure turf sprinter to me. But I really can't look past those two. I think they're heads and shoulders above this group.
Golden Pal, the number 6, our top selection in Friday's Spa Baby race, the Skidmore Stakes. Our coverage is presented by Spendthrift Farm.